The Athletic, and not just the Athletic staff, they compiled some opinions from coaches in college football as well as some NFL personnel and put together a list ranking every single projected starter in college football and putting them into tiers. They go through 7 tiers. Now, you get to the 7th tier, you're talking about teams that LSU is never going to play. It's the bottom of college football. But the top, it's interesting. Tier 1 is what the Athletic terms as the most talented quarterbacks in the country with the highest ceilings. They can carry their team and are often the biggest keys to victory. Many in this tier find themselves in the Heisman Trophy conversation. So that's tier 1 here. And I told you as we were entering the segment that Garrett Nussmeier is on the list. He is number 2 on this list. The blurb on Nussmeier reads, he waited 3 years on the bench to play at LSU. When he got his turn, he dazzled. Only returning starter in the FBS that threw for 4,000 yards. This is a Power 4 offensive coordinator that said, I was up and down on him. Then I watched him play up close and was like, this guy's pretty good. He can make some great go ball throws. And an SEC assistant said, Garrett Nussmeier is a baller, dude. So Garrett Nussmeier, number 2 on this list. What I find fascinating about the rest of this tier list in number 1 is numbers 1, 3, 4, and 5 around Garrett Nussmeier. It's something I've talked about a little bit in the offseason, but this is another list that brings it to life. Number 1, Cade Klubnik, Clemson, LSU's first opponent. Right up on him, a Power 4 head coach said he's really solid everywhere. He's a good, accurate passer, good size, can run. I don't know if he's elite at any trait, but I don't think he has any weaknesses. A Power 4 offensive coordinator said, I was Cade Klubnik's hater, but he balled out last year. I was impressed with him. The Athletic blurb says, the lack of a consensus on a clear-cut number 1 underscored the unique quarterback year this is in college football. There's no alpha. There's some players that got number 1 votes, but Klubnik received the most love from opposing coaches because he checks every box. Okay, Klubnik, number 1, Garrett Nussmeier, number 2. Number 3, LaNorris Sellers, South Carolina, on LSU's schedule. Number 4, John Mateer, Oklahoma, transfer from Washington State, on LSU's schedule. Number 5, DJ Lagway from Florida, on LSU's schedule. LSU, by this compiled metric, hosts or plays the top 5 quarterbacks in the country outside of Garrett Nussmeier. He's number 2. So the 4 best quarterbacks in the nation, according to this list, are on LSU's schedule. That is no small thing because it's the biggest position in American sports is quarterback. And you're telling me that LSU is getting a look at what this story and the folks that they talked to compile it are the best 4 opposing quarterbacks that LSU could possibly play. Now, you don't play any of the others until 15 with Diego Pavia. I've given you my Diego Pavia line. Like, I think he's a fine, fun player. Do I think Vanderbilt's going to be a really good football team this year? I don't. But he's number 15. He's certainly on your schedule. Taylon Green of Arkansas makes the list at number 21. That's a guy that put up monster numbers in some games last year. Does it look crisp from a passing perspective? No. Does it look smooth as butter when he takes off and runs? Yes, but LSU did a really good job against Arkansas last year. We'll see if they can do it again. Marcel Reed is next on the on LSU schedule on this list. He comes in at number 26 in Tier 3 on the list. As I scroll through, Jackson Arnold, who LSU doesn't play, is 35, but Austin Simmons from Ole Miss is number 37. There was a lot of Austin Simmons buzz in Atlanta last week. Apparently, he did well for a lot of folks in the interview room. I heard one that didn't love him in the interview room, but and the thought on his talent level with Lane Kiffin's offense was really promising. He's number 37 on this list. He is in tier number 4. And then you get to Ty Simpson at Bama, who is number 47 on this list. Now, this is interesting to me because if you listened to my show last week, you would have heard Chuck Oliver say he thinks that Ty Simpson's going to lose that job. If you heard some others, you're like, yeah, Ty Simpson, kind of a low ceiling, maybe a high floor. There's just not a lot of positive buzz on Ty Simpson. I read the blurb on him. An SEC assistant said, I don't think he's going to be in the upper tier of the league. Bama at one point was so much better than everybody from a personnel perspective that they could overcome a Jake Coker, a quarterback who's just like, eh. Blake Sims just kind of, eh. I don't think they're like that anymore. In the era of the transfer portal, you can't just stockpile depth and be so much better than everybody that you can put the 50th best quarterback out there and be just fine. And that's what Alabama is attempting to do here at number 47. But interestingly, Georgia's Gunnar Stockton is number 48 on the list. And they're going to try to do the same thing. Now, I heard a lot more positive buzz on Gunnar Stockton than I did on Ty Simpson last week. But the point remains that these two teams are trying to do it with low-ceiling quarterbacks and stacked rosters elsewhere. It's a tough thing to do these days. You'll recognize number 50 in tier number 4. Goes by the name of Bryce Underwood. Just a question of whether or not he's going to be the starting quarterback for them, but he's on this list. And then you look at the next on LSU's list. As I scroll through, there was one more. And I don't see it. I thought there was one more. Maybe not. I got to tier 7 and didn't. So the point of the matter is I was to go through and kind of tell you where they think teams are. But when you're LSU and you're told, like, okay, you can only lose 2 games. You can lose 2. You can only lose 2. And you've got to play the 4 best quarterbacks possible. That's a tall task. That's a tall order. And Garrett Nussmeier's task is to prove he's better than them and to go out there and outplay those guys and win. But I can't think of a time where you were going to look at this list and LSU was going to face the toughest 4 quarterbacks in the country in one season, especially one that had as much riding on it as this year does. Because the universal thought in Atlanta last week and in Baton Rouge right now, when you think about LSU, it's you better get it done this year. Is that because of your schedule? No, it's because of your talent. And oh, by the way, your schedule has got dudes on it, starting with week 1 on the road. You split the difference between those 4 quarterbacks home and away. You play Klubnik on the road. You play Mateer on the road. Lagway comes to you. Sellers comes to you. But that's a tall task that you got to face. And I know that a lot of you out there, or if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. That's a very, very overused cliche, and I think it's dumb. Because I think to be the man, you just have to beat whoever's on the other sideline. They don't have to be the man. Alabama still gets a national championship after Colt McCoy got hurt. They didn't take that one away from Saban. Still got the Rose Bowl title, BCS championship. And I'm not saying I need everybody's quarterback to get hurt, but if you let me play the number 58 quarterback instead of the number 1 quarterback in the opener, I'll take the number 58 quarterback. But no such luck for these Tigers. It's line them up as good as the other has got. That's who you got to play. So you can check out that story on The Athletic. It makes me feel better as I'm complaining about playing the top 4 quarterbacks that you have the number 2 quarterback. I like that. That part of the equation I enjoy. The other part, tough sledding. We'll see. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.